Now, if you were anything like me, you're probably told that the most responsible thing to do with your money is keep it safe. But what if the safest place for your money is actually a guaranteed way to lose it? You might have a high-yield savings account paying what seems like a solid 3.5%, but there is a hidden force eroding that returns every single day. And that force isn't just inflation, it's the tax code itself. This episode is about a quiet, often overlooked corner of the financial world, one that is used by large institutions to optimize their cash. If you're a high earner or live in a high tax state like New York or California, the gap between what you think the return is and what it could be is massive. This journey starts with a simple savings account, but by the end of it, you will see how that small shift in understanding could actually help you add thousands and thousands of dollars to your bottom line. Hi there and welcome to Americanomics. I'm your host Akash Bhatt and I'm extremely thrilled to share that we are now part of the 01 network by Zerodha. Okay, let me paint a scenario. Let's assume you have $100,000 in cash that has not been invested, just sitting in a high-yield savings account, earning 3.5% interest. Now, that could help you get $3,500 in interest on a yearly basis. On the surface, this feels safe and standard, but that number is simply an illusion. The moment that interest hits your account, it becomes taxable almost immediately. And if you're in the 35 to 40% combined federal and state tax bracket, you immediately lose over $1,200 of that gain, bringing your actual return down to just 2%. This is the silent penalty for following the standard advice. While you were focused on the interest rate, the real number to watch out for was after-tax return. This fundamental misunderstanding is where most people lose money without even realizing it. So what's the alternative? Well, there are a couple of things. First up is institutional cash. So how do you actually earn a higher tax-efficient return? You could use the same tools that wealthy individuals and large corporations use to manage their cash. These are called money market mutual funds, which in a nutshell are just professionally managed cash parking lots that invest in ultra-safe short-term loans to governments and corporations. This is essentially a structure that gives them their unique tax advantage. For our purposes, the two types that truly matter are built on a simple principle of the US financial system. One government entity generally doesn't tax the debt of another. First, there's something called as Treasury money market funds. These are funds that invest exclusively in debt issued by the US Treasury. Because of this, the interest that you earn is exempt from all state and local taxes. Second are municipal or muni money market funds. These funds invest in debt issued by the state and local governments. And because of this, the interest you earn is exempt from federal taxes. And if the fund invests in bonds from your home state, now for this conversation, let's assume that's New York. And for New York, a New York muni money market fund, typically the interest that you earn from that is completely tax-free. Now, this isn't a loophole. This is a structural feature of the US financial system. And because these instruments aren't FDIC insured like traditional bank accounts, most people never really touch them. Let me paint a picture for you. Let's assume you are living in New York City and you're earning $250,000 a year, and now you've gotten $100,000 bonus in cash. Now, if you just put that money in a high-yield savings account paying you 3.5% interest, you will end up getting $3,500. But after New York's high state and federal income taxes, your actual take-home from that interest is just closer to $2,100. Now, instead, if you put that $100K into a municipal money market fund like Vanguard New York Money Market Fund, then on the surface level, you might actually be getting a lower yield. Assume it's 2.7% at the current rate. But here's the key. For a New York resident, that interest is completely free from both federal and state taxes. So your take-home essentially is the whole $2,700. By doing nothing more than just moving your money from one safe place to another, you now have gotten $600 richer every year. And to truly understand the value, you have to look at the tax equivalent yield. That 2.7% tax-free return is the same as earning over 4.5% in regular taxable account. This is the math that institutions use. So how do you really put this into practice? Well, the first thing to know is that these aren't in your bank. These are actually in your brokerage accounts, Fidelity, Vanguard, or Charles Schwab, right alongside your stocks. You simply look for the three main types of cash funds. First up, standard taxable one. Second, treasury fund. And third, municipal fund. The key here is to ignore the advertised yield and focus only on the tax equivalent yield. Simple online calculators can answer the one question that truly matters. After taxes, which one of these puts more money into my pocket? For some, it could be a treasury fund. For others in high tax states, a muni fund will almost always win. And since these rates change, the smart move is to keep taking a look every few months to make sure that your cash is still in the most efficient place. I've answered the most common questions about safety and liquidity in a pinned comment below. But the short answer is yes. These are extremely safe and liquid. So this is what I want you to take away from this video. If you're a high earner or live in a high tax state or are holding a significant amount of cash, you're almost certainly leaving thousands of dollars on the table by simply following the conventional advice. Money market mutual funds are the cheat code. The system has built these pathways, but they're rarely advertised. In a world where you are taxed on everything, this is one of the few legal and simple ways to improve your returns. The difference isn't just pure math. It's being intentional about where your money sleeps at night. This is Americanomics and I'm your host Akash Bhatt. On this channel, we break down the real economics behind life, work and ambition in America. If you found this video to be helpful, share it with somebody who's sitting on cash and doesn't realize that there's a smarter way to build wealth in America. Subscribe for more tactical and honest content and I will see you in the next video.